Hi, Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be putting together a Howa rifle. So, as you may know or may not know, Brownells is the exclusive dealer of the Howa barreled action, so just the action themselves. And this is one variant we have. This is a gray Cerakote with a lightweight barrel, so this is a lightweight model for sure. And it comes with the bottom metal here. I say bottom metal, it's technically plastic. It comes with a detachable magazine, and they have different capacity magazines, so if you want something higher capacity, that's no problem. Also, some of them, depending on which one you get, come with the bases. This particular one didn't, so we're going with Night Force Howa bases. And also a Brownells exclusive is this camo pattern. I say camo pattern, it is a unique textured camo, but this is a Howa carbon fiber stock that has a textured camo on it, which is a Brownells exclusive, so we're going to be using this as well. So being a carbon fiber stock, this thing's super lightweight. Obviously we're doing a lightweight setup here. Everything's pretty small and light. The heaviest thing on this gun, honestly, is the scope. We're going with the Vortex Strike Eagle 5-25. Just a good, affordable, but very good quality precision optic. With that, we're using Vortex Pro rings, just a really good quality aluminum ring. They look bulky and heavy, but they're solid aluminum, so they're really not that heavy. So just a really good choice there. If you're mounting one of these optics, those rings are great. With that, this is a first focal plane optic, so and it has an MRAD reticle, which I love doing everything in MRAD. So this will be great if you want to do any type of precision type shooting, hunting in the mountains, whatever. This gun will pretty much do it all. You could, honestly, I'd go so far as to say you could use this as like a entry-level precision rifle build. But it all depends on what you want to do with it. Obviously, if you want to change up the action a bit, you can certainly do that. We do offer them with larger carbon fiber barrels. This is a 20-inch barrel. We have different barrel lengths, different barrel profiles, like I mentioned, carbon fiber, so different barrel materials. You can get them in just raw stainless. You can get them Cerakoted like this. A bunch of different choices to choose from as far as just your barreled action goes. Also, they do come with the Howa trigger. It's a good two-stage trigger, and it is adjustable. I like two-stage triggers. I think this trigger's awesome for what it is, and whenever I do Howa builds, I almost never change out the trigger. But if you want to, Timney makes a great trigger for this gun as well. Alright, so with that being said, we'll just go ahead and jump into the build, but before we do that, as I mentioned before, this stock is carbon fiber, and there's no bedding in it. It's just this synthetic-ish type material that's on the inside here. And whenever I'm mounting rifle actions into stocks like this, I like to do some kind of bedding. Now, is it 100% required? Maybe, maybe not. Honestly, the best way to tell is to put the action in the stock, shoot it, see how it groups. Now, if it doesn't group well, then it needs to be bedded. That's really the only way to tell. But with that being said, for what this rifle is going to be used for, especially if it's going through some heavy use, rugged type scenarios, like as I mentioned, hunting in the mountains and stuff like that, I would say go ahead and just bed it. So we're going to bed it, but not in this video. We have a video on how to bed rifles using Brownells Acroglass. This is the Acroglass gel. This is what I use for everything I bed ever, for any reason ever. I even like fix my kids' toys with this stuff. It works on everything. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. But we have a video on how to use it. It's a very detailed video. I'll link it below if I remember. But if not, you know where to find it. It's on the channel. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing bedded. This is the before. I'll show you the after when we're done. And then we'll continue the build. We'll be right back. Alright, so we're back and we have our stock bedded in accordance to how we did it in our how-to video. And now we're just going to go through assembling the action into the stock, and then we'll go ahead and mount our optic, and that's all there is to it. So let's just kind of jump right into that here. And I'll just go ahead and it should be a very tight fit. because it, of course, has been bedded. And it's nice and snug. Alright, then we'll put our bottom metal only by the term. This is, in fact, the plastic one we mentioned earlier. We'll press that in also. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and torque our action screws down. So I'm going to get out my fix-it sticks. And I'll also grab the Vortex torque wrench and a T30 bit. And we're going to torque this down to 45 inch-pounds since we're using the synthetic stock with the plastic bottom metal. It's easier if you hold it where the letters aren't, or the numbers aren't upside down. That's a pro tip. Alright. And 45. Okay. And you have your action screws. The short one always goes in the front. And the long one will go in the back. And this one's going to go in pretty tight because that bedding made a channel around that screw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snug it up until it stops. Then I'm going to do the rear one. And then I'm going to come back, I'm going to do the same thing with the rear one, and then I'm going to come back and torque that front one. Here it goes. Alright, and same thing on the back. There we go. Alright, so at this point we can go ahead and I'll mount it up in the vise and we'll get to installing our bases and optic and all that stuff. Alright. I'm going to turn it a bit so you can have a better view of what's going on here. And I'll actually move it forward. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and pull the bolt out as well. And we mentioned that Night Force base before, but this is an Ultralight. So if you're doing a standard Howa, you can certainly use that base. But the Ultralights will come with their own base. So if you buy the Ultralight action, it'll come with the base, so you don't have to worry about that. So we'll go ahead and use the one that was included with it, and to go from there. So we have our screws here, and the screws for the Ultralights are like most standard Remington 700s as well, are most just bolt actions in general. The screws are different lengths, so your shorter screws will go in the front and your longer screws will go in the back. And that's just because of the difference of thickness in the front and rear section. Alright, so let's just go ahead and put this on. If you notice, there's different hole spacing. The two that are close together will go in the rear. So just line up the holes and you can't do it wrong. We'll put that on there. And I'll just grab a little bit of blue Loctite. Put that on the table. And the torque wrench is now set to anywhere between 20 to 25 inch-pounds will be fine. So I actually have this one set at 22, which is plenty. And just a little bit of blue Loctite on there. And I'm not going to torque it down yet. I'm just going to tighten it. Alright, and then do one in the rear. And then put the other ones in. And then now we can go back and torque everything down. Alright, so what I will do now is just take this bit out, clean up my mess before I get it on my shirts. And now we can start installing the actual optic. So we have the Vortex Pro rings, which we'll just drop onto the table. Alright, so the great thing about these is that you don't have to wonder what the torque should be. They're written right there on the rings. So 30 inch-pounds on those bottom bolts, 18 on the top, and we're not going to use any more thread locker. And I'll place this neatly over there. And determining where I put these rings is going to depend on the actual optic itself. So I'm going to put the back of my objective about equal with that tang right there. You can do yours, check your eye relief, whatever works for you. This is close to what works for me here. I'm going to get it as close to that as I can. I'm not going to be able to go even with it, so I'm going to mount this thing as far forward as I possibly can. Alright. And this is I'm going to guess a T25. Yes, alright. We'll loosen the ring. And I'll put this one in front here. And go ahead and tighten down that front one. And if you notice there's some back and forth play here, I want to pull it forward when I tighten it down. And the reason I pull it forward is so that there's no chance of this shifting back under recoil, because the inertia is going to push want the optic to stay forward as the rifle recoils to the rear. So this is the optimal setup for stability. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull off that ring top real quick here. And I'll just go ahead and do this other one in my hand real quick. All right. And I'm just going to assess this again here. I don't want to run it right up against the turret housing. I want to come off of it just slightly. You want to have a little bit of gap there. And then on that rear ring, I can pretty much go anywhere, but I'm just going to go a little bit further back just for stability's sake. About right there. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you've seen me mount 10 million scopes before, so this is no different. I'm doing the same exact thing, same process. And that one was 30. So I made the classic mistake of not checking my torque wrench and under torqued that one, so I'm going to go back and retorque it. Alright, and I'm just going to lay my optic in. Put my ring tops on. I'm going to drop that twice. That's important. Alright. And I'm going to install the ring tops. Most of the way there. And what I'm doing right now is I'm making them slightly snug. And at this point, I'm just getting the gaps on either side equal. So I have equal gaps on both sides of my ring top. And that's mostly for aesthetic reasons. But still important. Important to me anyway. Alright, now I'll come to this side. Doesn't have to be this side, you can pick any side, but I'll pick a side and loosen the screws so that my optic can turn. Now we're going to level it. And because we're using a one-piece base with plenty of room underneath it, we'll be able to use our Arisaka tool and level it right off the bottom of the turret. Actually, I was going to do it on that side so y'all could see, but I'm scared this is going to interfere the windage, so I'm going to do it on the other side where I have more room. And that looks pretty good. Now, going back to the same side you loosened, go ahead and retighten those. And then keeping an eye on that gap, we're just going to go ahead and tighten each side until we get close to torquing these down here. And before we go all the way on that, what we're going to need to do is adjust our wrench one more time. To 18 inch-pounds. Here we go. And then just do a crisscross pattern on that. Just like you're torquing lug nuts. Alright, perfect. Now the optic's mounted. And that's really all we need to do. This is a pretty easy, straightforward build because we're working off of a already barreled action. And we'll just kind of, that actually worked out to be pretty good with the eye relief. I was afraid the optic would be too far back, but it's actually right where it needs to be. I'm glad I didn't have enough room to put it further forward because it would have been too far forward. Alright, excellent. All right, just kind of make sure everything functions as it should. Great. 3-position safety works great, and we're good to go. So as I mentioned previously or earlier on in this video, this is a pretty big scope for this rifle, but you know, depending on what you're using it for, you could put any size optic on it you want. But it's still actually really lightweight, even with this this larger precision optic on it, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, this would make a great tracking rifle. You want to take this into the mountains, whatever. It's just not going to absolutely break your back all day carrying this thing. But that's all there is to it. Just another really cool Howa build. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to post them down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, if you need help with anything for any reason ever, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.